The Jimmy Kimmel versus Aaron Rodgers beef is not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, Aaron Rodgers has actually been fired from his position at ESPN, from his position on the Pat McAfee show. And I know that you're going to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is an NFL player. He's not an ESPN employee. I'm pretty sure that Pat McAfee was paying Aaron Rodgers $1 million a year to appear on his show. It was either $1 million a year or $100K per appearance. I'm not sure, but it was one of those. So he is technically an ESPN employee because he's being paid by ESPN, someone who works for ESPN, to appear on the show. So we'll get into that in 1 second, where Pat McAfee actually tells us what's happening with that Aaron Rodgers situation. But there has been a couple of more developments since the last time that I talked about this, so let's check that out really quick. After stating the obvious that he was not on the list, talking about Jimmy Kimmel here, never met that guy, and the Rodgers statements were false and damaging, Kimmel said. You know, when you hear a guy who won a Super Bowl and did all of those State Farm commercials say something like this, a lot of people believe it. A lot of delusional people honestly believe I am meeting up with Tom Hanks and Oprah at Shakey's once a week to eat pizza and drink the blood of children. The audience chuckled at that, but Kimmel wasn't joking. I know this because I hear from these people often, he continued. My wife hears from them, my kids hear from them, my poor mailman hears from these people, and now we're hearing from lots more of them. Well, I mean, like, let's be real, man. If you didn't associate with those people, then you probably wouldn't be hearing those things because they would have zero merit. But what Aaron Rodgers said, even if it's not true, all we can do is from the outside looking in, just infer from what we see, and you associate with a lot of those people. So from the outside looking in, when we see Aaron Rodgers say something like that, yeah, we're going to believe it because it just looks that way to Aaron Rodgers and to us, who I guess believes one of these two things. Either he actually believes my name was going to be on that list, which is insane, or the more likely scenario is he doesn't actually believe that. He just said it because he's mad at me making fun of his top knot and his lies about being jabbed. ESPN Senior Vice President of Digital and Studio Production Mike Foss offered a statement as well. Aaron made a dumb and factually incorrect joke about Jimmy Kimmel. He told the site on Friday, the show will continue to evolve. It wouldn't surprise me if Aaron's role evolves with it. And as we can tell, he actually did. That the role did evolve. You know, he's now no longer on the show, which we'll get into in 1 second here. When Rodgers returned as a guest on McAfee's show, I'm glad that Kimmel is not on the list. I really am, Rodgers said Tuesday. Likely following the advice of his lawyer, I don't think he's the P word, he added, meaning PDF file. I think it's impressive that a man who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers can read off of a prompter. Aaron Rodgers also made another statement after this, which they don't go too much in detail on in this article for obvious reasons, because they're taking the side of Jimmy Kimmel, but they do mention a few things down here about it. On Tuesday, Rodgers blamed the media for making more of this situation than it merits. This is what they do. They try to cancel, and you know, it's just not me. But Kimmel's immediate response to his swipe illustrates why what Rodgers said isn't some harmless gag. So basically, Aaron Rodgers gave a pretty long statement on the Pat McAfee show, around 7 minutes long, so I can't play the entire thing in this video, but he was talking about the same thing that I talk about, the same thing that a lot of people talk about in this space, where if you say something that the elites don't like, if you say something that goes against the narrative, what they try to do is call you names. They call you certain names, you know, the buzzword phrases, the homophobic, the transphobic, the, you know, whatever word. Anti-Semite is one of the ones that Aaron Rodgers used as an example. And, you know, conspiracy theorist, which Aaron Rodgers actually in the statement said, you know, I don't mind being called a conspiracy theorist. The rest of those things are absolutely ridiculous. But being called a conspiracy theorist in today's age is actually not that bad, because the track record of being right as a conspiracy theorist has actually been pretty strong. And that's what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show when responding to the Jimmy Kimmel stuff most recently. And that's the same thing that they do to everybody. Like, it's not even just people on the right. It's not even just Republicans. Obviously, those are the people who are targeted the most, it seems like, but they do the same thing to Aaron Rodgers, which I guarantee you does not vote Republican. They do the same thing to Joe Rogan. They've done the same thing to people like Russell Brand, who's completely banned off everything. Like, they do this to everybody who doesn't completely go along with the narrative. It doesn't have to just be a right winger. It doesn't have to just be a Republican. It's everybody. And people like Aaron Rodgers are open to seeing this. People like Jimmy Kimmel, who are part of the crowd that, you know, is on the list. Like, let's be real. He associates with the people who are on that list. They don't want you talking about that stuff. So they don't get canceled like that. They don't get called the names that Aaron Rodgers gets called. Now, Jimmy Kimmel also responded and said, you know, the equivalent to that is basically you call them a PDF file. You call people like Jimmy Kimmel and the rest of them. I mean, bro, when there's an island that exists where you go and there's kids there, is all I'll say. There's kids on the island and the adults go to have fun on the island. Like, and a lot of people who you associate with go to that island frequently or went to that island frequently. I mean, what else are we supposed to say? Like I said, there are new developments in this Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel thing. This one is from Colin Rugg. It says, just in, Aaron Rodgers is suspended from appearing on ESPN's The Pat McAfee Show for the rest of the season after his beef with comedian Jimmy Kimmel. I like how he put comedian in quotes. Rodgers pissed off a lot of people. Good. McAfee said he was happy that Rodgers wouldn't be back on the show because of all the drama that it caused. There will be a lot of people who are happy with that, myself included. To be honest with you, the way it ended, it got really loud. I am happy he's not going to be in my I mentioned going forward. McAfee did mention that he was grateful for being able to have Rodgers on the show, but wanted to move the focus back to sports. That's really unfortunate if he's going to take the side of, I'm glad Aaron's gone. He said wrong things on the show and stuff like that. I hope he doesn't take that stance. I hope, Aaron Rodgers eventually comes back to the show, because, not only was it cool to see Aaron Rodgers talk about Jimmy Kimmel and trash on those kinds of people, it's cool to just see Aaron Rodgers give insights as to what's happening, football-wise and things like that. So I hope Aaron does come back to the show at some point, but it seems like, Pat McAfee's kind of taking the side, and maybe this is coming from higher up. Mike Foss and the other ESPN execs might be telling him he has to, because they're his boss now. He signed the deal with ESPN, and this is what we were all scared of whenever he did sign the deal with ESPN. Would he not be able to say his true thoughts on things? So maybe that's why he's doing it. It would suck if he actually took the stance of, I don't want Aaron back ever because of the drama that he caused. Let's check out this clip, though. Let's see exactly what's going on with the Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel debate and what Pat McAfee has to say about the whole thing.
What we do know is the guy that stopped by yesterday caused quite a conversation.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Now,
per usual.
Not like that.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, season 4 is done.
Yeah.
Complete season.
There's going to be a lot of people that are happy with that, myself included, to be honest. With the way it ended, it got real loud. And real loud. I'm happy that is not going to be my mentions going forward, which is great news. We're a conversation show. People are having conversations. We live in a country that has freedom of speech, but also you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your freedom of speech. So what I'm saying is we've given a lot of people who've been waiting for us to fail a lot of ammo and things to attack us for over the last week. And we would love to get back to the point where we just move on and continue to silence all the haters over here who can't negotiate as good as I can, all the people over here who can't create a show as good as us, and all the people up here who are just going to always be here, and they're going to hustle and do their thing, which I respect. But we need to do that, and that is our focus. That is our goal. And Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. He's a 4-time MVP. He's a massive piece of the NFL story. Whenever you go back and tell it, he will be a huge part of it. We are very lucky to get a chance to chat with him and learn from him. Some of his thoughts and opinions, though, do piss off a lot of people. And I'm pumped that is no longer going to be every single Wednesday of my life, which it has been for the last few weeks. On Friday, obviously, I threw us into the fire as well. Forever stand by that. Everything else, though, just can't do that, and not what we want to be known for. And I'm also pumped that I don't have to do these types of talks anymore. So with that being said, sports are alive.
I can understand that. I can understand that he wants to just talk about sports for the most part, and not have the people coming after you. I'm sure there was a lot of lawsuit, the term lawsuit being thrown around a ton whenever this whole situation is going down. I can understand that he just wants to get back to sports. I just hope he doesn't completely throw Aaron Rodgers under the bus in the whole situation, which is what a lot of people are saying he did. And it kind of feels like he's doing that as well, because Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't appear on a lot of shows often. I remember, I've been watching the Pat McAfee show for years and years now, since 2019-ish. And, the first couple of times Aaron Rodgers went on, Pat McAfee was super grateful. They were super excited to have him on there. And, he did blow the show up a lot. I think it was during CV19, in 2020-ish, when Aaron Rodgers first made his appearance, and they had record viewership on his very first episode. So he helped the Pat McAfee show out quite a bit. I hope he doesn't completely just turn on the guy, turn his back on him and throw him under the bus. But let me know what you guys are thinking about the fact that, the Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel situation beef actually got Aaron Rodgers kicked off and suspended and banned from the Pat McAfee show and ESPN going forward. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the entire situation between Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you in the next one.